So today we are going to look at the last topic of MCA, Meetings, Compliance, and Administration. And that is topic number 15. This is regarding technology and meetings. Literally, we've been discussing how we meetings, the general meeting setup, the traditional way of where people gather together, the traditional way where individuals, physically, members are expected to turn up for a meeting. But today we are going to discuss the transitions that have taken place with the technology that has come. With change of technology, we expect change of things. And so even in the meetings, we've had to receive or embrace changes because of digitalization. So today we are going to consider the effects of technology on how meetings are held. We've got to see how the rules and regulations and guidelines on virtual meetings, they've had to change from the physical meetings to address the issues of virtual meetings. So we can introduce this topic by saying that most meetings and conferences today have gone beyond the traditional style, of lecture hall, where people used to meet in a lecture place, a hall, for sessions with a podium, there used to be a podium and based presentations, and then there used to be rows of people, of listeners seated and watching or observing the person who was managing the meeting. But different from that now, we've had to move from the traditional way to embrace technology by holding virtual meetings. But as point number one, about laws, regulations, and guidelines, we've got to see how some of these changes have had to take place and the effects of some of the laws that were dictating physical meetings. The way physical meetings used to be held, there are some regulations that were imposed towards physical meetings, guidelines. And so we're looking at the same implications as to how they imply when we hold virtual meetings. So we're going to start by looking at some common themes and considerations found in laws and guidelines related to virtual meetings. Some of the considerations, we're going to look at the first one. We're going to consider, like point number one, part of the laws, regulations, and guidelines, emergency provisions, emergency provisions. That is clear, emergency provisions. And we are going to say that we are all aware of what happened in the year 2020, the COVID issues, the COVID-19 pandemic. And that taught us, that pandemic taught the whole world, and I think at that point, that's when we had to review the regulations and the guidelines that govern physical meetings. And as the whole world had to embrace a type of virtual meetings. They became very necessary because businesses needed to still progress forward. So we're saying that many countries introduced emergency provisions to allow companies to conduct virtual meetings during times of crisis, or when physical meetings are not possible due to extraordinary circumstances like the COVID-19 pandemic. So you realize an emergency meeting may arise, and maybe the board needs to have a meeting. And like that time in the year 2020, physical meetings were not allowed to take place. So the existence of emergency meetings brought up provisions for virtual meetings. So we can say that technology helped us or helps us in managing emergency meetings. We can no longer meet physically, but we can also hold a virtual meeting and discuss matters affecting the firm. So emergency provisions had to make way for the virtual meetings. That's one of the areas. Those are some of the themes and considerations that you're going to look at that found laws and guidelines related to virtual meetings. Emergency, that's number one. Number two, we're going to look at company law. Company law. And under company law, we are going to say that company laws in various jurisdictions have been amended. Yeah, there were laws that used to say every year, every company must have, a public company must have, a private company must have an AGM on this day, on this month. Yeah, that was a law, yeah, a regulation. And so we are saying had to be amended to allow for virtual meetings and remote participation by shareholders and board members. That's not the virtual meeting or the regulations changes did not only allow people to meet virtually, but also issues that are related to voting. Yeah, how there is virtual voting on during virtual meetings. That was also embraced. Participation by all the shareholders. Yeah, participation by all the board members. So the issue of company law, some changes that allowed members to participate fully and also do vote. Yeah. So company law had to give way for virtual meetings. The other thing about considerations that were made was notice requirements. Notice requirements. Notice. This is notice. Notice requirements. Yeah, and under that, we're saying regulations often specify the manner and timeline for providing notice to shareholders about the virtual meetings, including information on how to participate, vote, and access meeting materials, just like the other way during a physical meeting. And a notice has to be issued on time. Yeah, to prepare the members to participate fully in the meeting. Equally, even when we have a virtual meeting, the notice requirements needs to be issued early. Yeah, so that members can equally participate. Yeah, members can access the materials on time. Members can prepare for the agendas of the day. So as part of the preparation, maybe for the notice requirements, notice can be sent via mail, can be sent on the website, can be sent via, maybe can be put in the newspaper. Yeah, maybe even telephone calls to prepare the members. Yeah, the notice has to be given on time, but separately from the physical meeting where all people to be called together or they knew. Yeah, this one has to be done via other means, like as we said, website, via mail, yeah, newspaper, all those things to prepare members early enough in preparation for the meeting. Another kind of consideration that has been done is the electronic voting. Electronic voting. What about electronic voting? During the physical meetings, members would raise their hands physically and then they would be counted. But now with the virtual meetings, there is a kind of electronic voting. Laws and guidelines may address the use of electronic voting systems and the authentication mechanisms required to ensure the integrity and confidentiality of voting. Depending with the mode that or the means that the virtual meeting is taking place, members can vote, but by maybe still raising their hand. Yeah, depending on the technology, hands can be counted. So there is voting, but different from the physical meetings, there is also something called electronic voting. Yeah, so we can say those are some of the considerations that came with technology. Let's look at another one. Consider point number 5, shareholders' participation. Shareholders' participation. Shareholders' participation. What about shareholders' participation? Provisions may be in place to ensure that shareholders can actively participate. Yeah, they can ask questions and engage in discussions during virtual meetings. The only difference is that members do not meet physically one-on-one, but even online, there are some online meetings or virtual meetings where everyone can be on a video, yeah, so that each member is able to see each member is able to view the other member, yeah. So and that encourages members to participate, ask questions, yeah, comment on issues, yeah, engage in discussions. So there is no limitations of like a member cannot participate. Equally, just like the physical meeting, even on virtual meetings, a member is capable and still able and open to participate. So shareholders' participation is still embraced even in the virtual meetings. Another thing about virtual meetings, yeah, is on technology and security. Technology and security. Now, we embrace technology. What about security? Different from the physical meeting where people would be gathered in a particular hall, and maybe they would have commanded security at the gate to make sure that any unauthorized person cannot access the meeting. So how do we bring, or how do we offer security when we are using technology in virtual meetings? Regulations may require organizations to use secure and reliable technology platforms for virtual meetings to safeguard against data breaches and unauthorized access. So there are other ways, there are other means. Technology has a solution to offer security, maybe by encryption of messages, end-to-end users, yeah? There are all ways, and there are many means of how to manage security in the organization. Members may be given passwords to log in such that anyone without access to that password cannot get into the meeting. So technology has also come up with its own ways of security to make sure that unauthorized access is there for people who are called for the meeting. Let's look at another thing, point number 7. We are going to look at recording and minutes. Recording and minutes. What about recording and minutes? We are saying that there may be requirement for organization to record virtual meetings and maintain accurate minutes as part of their corporate record keeping obligations electronically. We can still save the minutes. We can still save the data, yeah? We are able to take minutes as a corporate secretary, or the company secretary is able to take the minutes. And then definitely there is part of recording. Technology comes with recording, different from the physical meeting where literally the corporate or the company secretary would sit with a book or a machine to type whatever, yeah, a laptop, to make sure that he or she takes minutes, yeah. With technology, the issue of recording the meeting and also the minutes, taking the minutes, is considered, yeah? So let's look at another point. We're also going to consider quorum. Issue of quorum. Quorum. This is you, quorum and voting. Quorum and voting. And we're saying laws may clarify how a quorum is established in virtual meeting and how votes are counted and verified. Yes, that is during the physical meeting. Yeah, there was that law, or equally even in the virtual meetings. Yeah, there is the issue of quorum, that such that a meeting cannot take place without the quorum being achieved. And in the event that the meeting is not able to achieve the right quorum, the meeting is called off. And then also when it comes to the issue of voting, there's a way that members will agree. This is the way we are going to vote. Either maybe you raise your hand, maybe you do an SMS, maybe you do a text. There is always a way, yeah? Digitalization, technology has a way of allowing members to vote and to express themselves, okay? So that one has also had to be considered. And the last but not the least is proxy voting. Proxy voting. What is proxy voting? Proxy voting is where a shareholder may not turn up in a meeting, but then has authorized a person to come and stand on their behalf and also do the voting for them. So guidelines may outline the procedure for proxy voting in virtual meetings, including appointing proxies and granting voting instructions. Equally, that's just the same. Yeah. So in the same way, proxy would be sent for a physical meeting. A proxy can also be given maybe the person or the rights, passwords or the rights to attend the meeting, and also equally the rights to do vote, yeah, on behalf of the chairperson or the shareholder who did not manage to come for the meeting. So those are some of the things. There's still nothing changes, as in comparing the physical meeting and the virtual meeting. We are saying these are the same meetings, except that now the members do not meet physically, but they meet online via various means, various techniques. So we have seen everything about a physical meeting. Everything about a meeting applies, whether virtual or physical kind of a meeting. So we're going to look at the technology in use then during the virtual meetings. Let's consider the different types of technologies that are applicable when people decide to hold virtual meetings. What are the technologies we use in virtual meetings? The most one of the technologies that we use is the video conferencing. Video conference. Video conferencing software. That is a software, a video conferencing software. That includes meetings like Zoom, like the one we are doing today here in class. I'm holding a meeting and I'm doing topic number 15 on meetings, compliance, and administration. And my topic for the day is technology and meeting. And I am meeting my students via Zoom. That is a kind of a meeting. So that's a kind of a meeting where we have the video conferencing software, where examples of those platforms include Zoom, Microsoft Teams. Teams also falls under this place. We have Zoom, we have Teams, we have Google Meet. Google Meet also, or there are also techniques, there are a software that is used. It's a platform for video conferencing. Google Meet. We have Cisco. There is also another one called Cisco WebEx and others. Widely used for virtual meeting. These platforms allow participants to see and hear each other in real time. Like now you're able to see me, you're able to hear from me. So in real time, creating a sense of face-to-face interactions. So that's one way, that's a kind of a technology that we use. So video conferencing software is one of them. Then we have another one of webinar. Number 2, we can look at webinar. Webinar platforms. Under webinar, we can say that webinar platforms like GoToWebinar, Webinar Jam, and Demio are used for large-scale presentations, seminars and training sessions. You see, this is a way or a platform that brings so many people together, either for maybe a seminar, it can be training sessions, large-scale presentations, that is able to reach a number of people, very many people. Webinar enable one-way communication from the host. The only thing about webinars is it allows one-way communication. You can't receive communication from the attendees of the meeting, but the host is able to minister or to talk to a multitude of people. It enables one-way communication from the host to attendees and often include features like question and answer. So literally what happens during a webinar is that guys are given an opportunity to ask questions. You write your questions and then the questions are answered by the host. The host is able to see the questions and address them, but it is just a one-way communication. Different from Zoom, because if Zoom we were doing a live class, you would be able to talk to me or ask me a question. You just unmute yourself, ask the question, or even put it in the chat. I'll be able to see it there and on there, and I'll be able to communicate back to the students. So for webinar, is the host is the one who addresses the attendees and often includes features like question and answers, polls, and interactive elements. So that is how webinar is different from video conferencing. Let's look at another technique or on another way. We can look at virtual event platforms. Virtual event platforms. What about virtual event platforms? We can say that those ones examples are like Hopin. Examples. An example can be that Hopin. It's a type of a virtual event platform. vFairs. That's also another example. And Lemol. Provide a comprehensive virtual event experience, allowing for virtual booths, networking opportunities, and interactive sessions. That one is very interactive, and it also offers networking opportunities. It's a virtual event platform. Another one is on technology is collaboration tools. We can also discuss on issues of collaboration tools. Collaboration tools. Yeah. Technology in use in virtual meetings. We also have tools that are collaboration software such as Microsoft 365. Yeah, Microsoft, that's a Microsoft 365. That is a tool. It's a collaborative tool that is generally used for virtual meetings. Formerly, it was 365. So Microsoft 365 or Micro Office 365. Google Workplace and Slack facilitate real-time document sharing, able to share documents. My collaboration tools between the attendees and the host. You can share documents, by sharing real-time document sharing, co-editing, and messaging also, making it easier for teams to work together during virtual meetings. Why it is collaborative? It is because it involves both the host and the attendees. They are able to exchange documents, co-editing, and messaging. It makes it easier, to work together during virtual meetings. So these are very good technology because there is exchange of documents, You're able real time, on it there during the virtual meeting. Let's look at another technology, virtual whiteboards. Allow me to lab here. That's number 4. So I'm going to do number 5 here. Let's look at number 5. And we are talking about virtual whiteboards. Number 5. Virtual whiteboards. Virtual whiteboards. What about virtual whiteboards? Virtual whiteboards tools like Miro and Maro. There is this Miro and there is also Maron. Maron enable participants to transform, draw, and collaborate on visual ideas during virtual meetings, replicating the experience of one in-person whiteboard sessions. They enable participants to brainstorm. People give their ideas, they share their ideas. This one actually helps people to even draw. It's a whiteboard. People are able to express themselves by drawing and collaborate on visual ideas. As in, literally, you can be able to draw your visual ideas, during virtual meetings. So replicating the experience of an in-person whiteboard session. Here, you're able to express yourself virtually, You can be able to write visually, You can explain, you can express, your ideas, So you're able to brainstorm, Participants are able to brainstorm their ideas using virtual whiteboards, all right? So maybe the other one is about screen sharing. That one we have seen it during our classes. Screen sharing, live classes. During our live classes, we're able to share your screen. We've learned when a student is not understanding what the lecturer is saying, they're able to share their screen, especially the practical papers. Different from theory. There are these practical papers like financial accounting or business data analytics. If a student is not able to understand or to do a formula or be able to practically manage what the lecturer or the tutor is instructing, they're able to share their screen and the tutor is able to see where the problem is and advise the student. So we can say that screen share, presentations, documents, all demonstrations, it's both ways. The person, the presenter is able to share his or her screen, but equally even the attendee is also able to share his or her screen. So it is collaborative and it is also interactive. Then there is also the issues of questions and answers features. So many virtual meetings platforms offer polling and question and answer features, allowing hosts to gather feedback from participants and engage them in interactive discussions. Many of these platforms, they have that portion where you're able to ask a question and the host is able to address the questions and there is that full participations. We are also looking at breakout rooms where virtual meeting platforms often include breakout rooms functionality, enabling organizers to split participants into small groups for discussions, collaborations, or networking sessions. Yeah, you gather, but there's that probability or there's that possibility of being broken down into small groups for discussions. Yeah, breakout rooms. They're called breakout rooms. In a virtual meeting where small groups are formed for purposes of discussing an issue or an idea, yeah, or collaborate or network. Yeah, they break out from the main meeting and they have got time to discuss on various matters. Oh, those are now all the technology, yeah? Technology techniques that are applied or technology in use in virtual meetings. We have looked at very many of them, the video conferencing. We have considered the webinar platforms, virtual event platforms, collaboration tools. We have also looked at the virtual whiteboards where you can be able to draw virtually, yeah. We have also considered the issue of screen sharing, where the presenter shares the screen and equally even the attendees are still able to also share their screens. The pooling, the question and answers features, where you're able to ask any question and the presenter is able to address that and give feedback. And also the issue of breakout rooms. So we're going to look at number 3, planning and conducting the virtual meetings. How do we plan? How do we conduct the virtual meetings? Is it any different from the physical meeting or the physical meeting? Planning and conducting virtual meetings. So we are at point number 3 here. So how do we plan? Yeah. How do we conduct the virtual meetings? Planning and conducting virtual meetings requires careful preparation and effective use of technology to ensure a smooth and productive experience for all participants. A virtual meeting can be very difficult, especially for someone who has not embraced technology. Yeah, because you literally can't tell where to touch, what to do. Yeah, so many people can miss out on a meeting because of lack of knowledge or lack of maybe experience or exposure. So it is very important to prepare the participants, yeah? And one of the ways we are going to look at is by, looking at some of the steps. Let's go step by step. Let's look at the steps to plan and conduct successful virtual meetings. So we are going to consider the steps, yeah? Which steps do the presenters, yeah, consider? So one of the steps to conduct for us to have a successful virtual meeting is to define the objective. What is define the objective? What is the objective of the meeting? Just like the physical meeting, you can't just meet or gather without an objective. So even in a virtual meeting, we have to discuss, or we have to know, why are we calling the members for this virtual meeting? What is the objective that we are going to discuss? Clearly outline the purpose and goals of the virtual meeting to ensure all participants understand the meeting's focus and desired outcome. Remember, we have said that a notice of requirement of a notice, yeah, has to be done. Members should come into the meeting knowing the agenda of the day. You should come ready, prepared to discuss, to participate. So the objective of the meeting is very, very, very important, yeah, for effective participation. So participants understand the meeting's focus and desired outcome. Yeah, objective helps you to know what is the requirement and what is the outcome of the meeting. So number 1 about planning for a meeting, a virtual meeting, objective is number 1, just like the physical meeting. So number 2, what you need to consider as number 2 is choose the right technology. Yeah, right technology. Choosing the right technology matters a lot. We have looked at the various technologies that are there. Will it be a video conferencing where you're going to do Zoom meeting, Google Meet, yeah? How do you decide that you're going to do Google Meet and not a Zoom meeting? So those considerations have to be taken or considered. The right technology, which technology applies to the specific kind of a meeting. So select a reliable video conferencing platform with essential features like screen sharing. That is very perfect, yeah? And breakout rooms tailored to meet the specific needs of the meeting. Now, depending with the kind of a meeting, then it dictates what kind of a technology to consider. Like video conferencing is very good. Normally, many people go that way. Why? Because the presenter is able to share the screen and every participant is able to see the screen. And in the event, maybe the participant is not able to understand something, then there is a section of questions and answers. Yeah, so it is involving, it is encouraging, it is participating. So choose the right technology depending with the nature of the meeting. So that is also another step number 2. Now, step number 3, set the date and time. Issue of notice. Yeah, set the date and time. Set the date and time. Schedule the meeting well in advance. Issue of notice requirement. Yeah, and consider participants' time zones to maximize attendees and engagement. Why you have to check the zonal times is because sometimes this meeting is an international meeting, and you have to consider the zonal times of people who live in this specific zone compared to other people who live in a different zone. Well, because you have to get a time when all the participants are available. Yeah, so time issue is very important so that you don't call off for a meeting when some other people are deep asleep and others are fully awake. So zonal issue, and give the notice early in advance so that members are able to prepare themselves and they come prepared fully to participate. The other thing is send invitations and materials. Invitations and materials. Invitations and materials. Why are you talking about invitations and materials? This is on issues of notices. Yeah. Invitations and materials. Send meeting invitations with joining instructions. Yeah. And any relevant pre-read materials to allow participants to prepare beforehand. Yeah. So 2 things about invitations and the materials. When you invite a participant, then most likely there is a password, so that you don't just find the door open and get in. You just have to get in, knock, and put the password so that you can be allowed to join. So that is one of the things that has to be sent on time. Then still on the issues of material, just like the physical meeting, that thing need to be sent. The materials need to be sent for the members to be prepared to participate, to know the agendas of the meeting, to know the objectives. That's doing a pre-mock. It's like a mock before the real exam comes. So we say that conduct a technology test to identify and address any technical issues before the actual meeting. It is very important so that members do not lose out. Do a mock, yeah, a pre-mock, yeah. Do a test. It's a test. Test the technology, yeah, and connectivity. Do members understand? Are they able to connect? Yeah. Have they familiarized themselves with the system? So that a member may not just appear in the meeting and can't know how to raise. You're telling the members raise your hand and the member is not able to raise their hand. So that should be done prior. It's like training. You're training them. You're testing the technology. It is very important to conduct a technology test to identify and address any technical issues before the actual meeting, ensuring a smooth experience for all attendees. Because what normally happens if some attendees feel like we don't understand how to navigate our way out, so they'll just sit in the meeting and be observers. Whereas in a meeting, the shareholders should be participative. That's a requirement. So it is very important to do a test technology before the meeting, before the day or before the meeting date. Yeah. So it's very key to help people familiarize themselves with the system. The other thing, number 6, is create a meeting agenda. Create a meeting agenda. Yeah, this is almost similar to defining the objective. Create a meeting agenda. Prepare a structured agenda with time allocations for each item, helping to maintain focus and achieve meeting objective. Definitely when you're setting the objectives, then there are the agendas. Let them follow each other in a way that members will be prepared to participate. Yeah. So creating a scheduled, structured agenda with time allocations. You see where there is time allocations, people know right now we're discussing this agenda from 11 to 12. After 12, we are going to discuss this other agenda. So people, the participants are mentally prepared. Yeah, they are ready to discuss and they are willing to offer their, to share their concerns and also to discuss their issues concerning maybe the agendas that are put across. Yeah. So creating a meeting agenda that goes hand in hand with the objectives of the meeting. Let's look at another planning item that goes hand in hand with also how do we conduct the virtual meeting. The other thing is on foster engagement. Yeah. How do we foster engagement of every participant? Engagement. Yeah. Remember, this is a meeting. These are the shareholders and these are the board of directors. So how do you foster their engagement of each other? So we're saying that use interactive tools like question and answers. Yeah, we have said about to keep participants engaged and actively involved in the discussions. Considering a point like number 6, where there is a meeting agenda, and you have said that you have allocated every agenda time. So members are fully prepared that this time we are discussing this agenda. So on issues of foster engagement, it helps members to engage. Let them ask questions. Let the questions be addressed. Yeah. So issues of fostering engagement, yeah, sessions to keep participants engaged and actively involved in the discussion. Remember, this is a discussion, just like the physical meeting, members should discuss freely. So let them ask questions and let the questions be answered. Let there be that flow in communication. The other issue is on follow-up. Number 8. I can write it here, follow-up. Yeah, it's appearing there. Follow-up. Share meeting minutes. The meeting is over. The meeting has discussed, the members have been able to discuss all the objectives, all the agendas, and the meeting has come to an end. The virtual meeting has come to an end. So what follows up? There has to be a follow-up, just like the physical meeting, where members are given maybe different, what are they called? They're given action items, yeah, action items, yeah. Even in the virtual meeting, we are saying that share meeting minutes or a summary with action items and deadlines to ensure accountability and progress on discussed topics. So just like the physical meeting, it's important to share the action items, yeah, deadlines to ensure accountability. What is given to, okay, who is who on what, yeah? So let those distribution of duties still take place. Let there be a follow-up. Let there be a follow-up. That is one of the ways of planning, and it has to be considered when you're planning and also conducting, yeah, a virtual meeting, just like the physical meeting. There's that follow-up, yeah, where share meeting minutes or a summary of the meeting, so that action items and deadlines to ensure accountability and progress on discussed topics, yeah, so that there is a follow-up of what each and every person who is expected to action an item, yeah, is able to be followed up. So that's number 8. Then number 9, we can seek feedback. Yeah, we can bring it up here. Number 9, we can write it up here, where we're going to consider there is follow-up. Where there is follow-up, there is also feedback. So we can still consider feedback. Why? Because once the minutes have been sent to the members, then there has to be feedback from the people who have been actioned with action items. So send feedback, gather feedback from participants to improve future virtual meetings and address any concerns or issues. Let the members willingly give their feedback. Where do we need to rectify? Where do we need to upgrade? What do we need to do in the next meeting differently from what we did this time? Yeah, let the members give their feedback. Suppose you used Zoom and the members are suggesting, let's go to Google Meet. Maybe that one is more safe for all of us. Maybe that one is more friendly for all of us. So as the board, they should be able to manage to get feedback from the members. Yeah. Then the last but not the least is consider accessibility. Yeah. Consider accessibility. Yeah. Consider accessibility. And we are saying ensure the virtual meetings platforms and materials are accessible to all participants, including those with disabilities. Ensure the virtual meetings platform. When you're looking at the platform, to consider the right technology. Yeah, is it accessible to all? Yeah. And also the materials, they are all accessible to all participants, including those with disabilities. I don't know, when we say disabilities and there is this meeting, maybe there's a member who's blind, then they should be considered on how do they attend the meeting. And they are also participating like any other person. So those considerations should be done. Consider accessibility of all, depending on the kind of people that, the kind of members that are registered or the kind of members that a meeting has, then the management should consider that every person is covered. The kind of technology that is chosen is accessible to all. That's what we are saying at point number 10. Consider accessibility for all. Yeah, regardless of whether you're disabled or wherever you are, illiterate or literate, then it has to be a system that is favorable to all. So those are some of the things that we need to consider when we are planning and also conducting a virtual meeting. So we are now going to look at point number 4, the risks associated with virtual meetings and how do we mitigate those risks? Because we are going to identify the risks, yeah? Because definitely risks are there for a virtual meeting, but then how do we mitigate the same risks? So we are going to consider point number 4. Point number 4, risks associated with virtual meetings and their mitigations. Yeah, if you are going to consider the risks, yeah, risks associated with virtual meetings. Yeah, I wish I was in a live class where I would ask you to give me or suggestions. We're able to suggest what kind of risks are there. But let me help you by saying risk number 1 is on technical issues. Yeah, technical issues. This is a risk. Yeah, connectivity problems, internet issues. Yeah, technical issues. That is very common in many meetings. That is a very common problem. Connectivity problems, audio, video hitches, or platform outages, yeah, can disrupt the meeting and affect productivity. That is a risk in itself. You just start a meeting like this, people cannot be able to connect. Some of them put the password, it says wrong password. Yeah, connectivity issues, technical issues. So how do we mitigate that? Yeah, and there's something we talked about doing like a mock test the technology. Yeah, always schedule a test meeting, yeah, before the actual event to ensure participants can connect and familiarize themselves with the platform. That solves the problem. Yeah, issues of technical issues where a member comes into the meeting and cannot be able to log in. Yeah, that should have been captured earlier when you do the test technology. That's a mitigation, yeah? Also, have backup communication methods, e.g., suppose this one failed. And that's why we were talking here, when we were looking at planning and conducting virtual meetings, we said we have to have which technology, yeah? But it's also important to have a backup. Suppose this one fails, which one can we pick or move into? So have backup communication methods, e.g., phone call, alternative platform, in case of technical failures. Now, you see, when one fails, one technique fails, then you can always have a backup for a different one. Encourage participants to use a stable internet connection and troubleshoot technical issues in advance. The solution to technical issues is the test technology, the one that we discussed, where you're able to do a meeting earlier before the actual meeting. That's the issues of technical issues. So another risk is on security and privacy. Security and privacy. This is a big risk, yeah? Security. Suppose wrong people attend the meeting. Suppose wrong people access, yeah, company data that should not fall into their hands, yeah? Security and privacy concerns, yeah? Unauthorized access, that has to be taken care of. Data breaches or privacy violations could occur during virtual meetings, leading to sensitive information exposure. What should we do? What is the mitigating factor? Yeah, unauthorized access. How do we combat that? Yeah, we have to use ways of securing ourselves is use secure and reputable video conferencing platforms that offer encryption and password protection. Yeah, that is very important. When it comes to security and privacy, we can't run away from encryption and passwords such that nobody can just log in or appear into a meeting. Yeah, you must use some coded language. You must give people passwords, and they are not supposed to share those passwords with anyone. That has to be restricted. So that's one way. Share meeting links and access credentials only with intended participants via secure channels. Look at that. You're sharing access credentials, but also consider using secure channels. You don't just do an SMS to someone, and maybe the SMS will just be seen by many other people. Just put it in open place. So you have to consider secure channels, and also for sharing the links. Where do you share the links? Is it in a public platform, or it should only be a platform meant for all the members who are only supposed to be in that meeting? So those are some of the things to consider about issues of security. Avoid discussing sensitive or confidential information in virtual meetings, or use end-to-end encryption if available. End-to-end means that the only people who are there are the ones who are meant to be there. The only people who are meant to hear the information are the ones who are there. So all those things should be put in place. But sometimes avoid very sensitive information in a virtual meetings because they may fall in some ears that are not supposed to hear. So you think of maybe doing an email to that specific person, or maybe come up with other ways. So when it comes to security and privacy, encryption and passwords is very key, and also should consider the secure channels, have secure channels to send the messages. So the other thing is about lack of engagement. Another risk is that members have logged in into a meeting. Lack of engagement is where people have logged into a meeting, but they're just dumbfounded, they can't participate in the meeting. So virtual meetings may lead to decreased engagement and active participation compared to in-person meetings. You see in a physical meeting, someone will just raise up their hand, or they actually even stand up and speak. Yeah, but different from a virtual meeting where you have to be allowed to unmute yourself, where you're supposed maybe to raise your hand. So there can be lack of engagement for members. So what are the mitigations concerning lack of engagement? Plan interactive sessions, plan interactive sessions, including question and answer, breakout groups, and keep participants engaged. Set clear objectives and encourage all participants to contribute by inviting question and answers. Let it be a participatory event where questions and answers keep flowing. So that will the issues of lack of engagement. Distractions and multitasking. What about distractions? Distractions. How do you manage distractions in a virtual meeting? Virtual settings can lead to distractions such as checking emails. Someone is logged on into a meeting, but then he has the phone on and discussing his on WhatsApp and chatting with friends. So how do we manage those distractions? Such as checking emails, browsing, reducing meeting effectiveness. So request participants to turn off notifications on their devices during the meeting. It is a request. Ask the participants to put off their phone. Utilize video presence. You see, if there is video and one is connected, there is that risk of people will be able to see you chatting with other friends. And so there is that feeling of, you're breaking some rules. Utilize video presence to promote accountability and discourage multitasking. Keep the meeting relevant, reducing the likelihood of participants getting distracted. Then the meeting should be short and relevant. A virtual meeting should not be too long. It should be short and kept relevant to avoid people being distracted. We've addressed the issue of time zones. Where we said that scheduling meeting across different time zones can result in attendees issues and fatigue for some participants. So because various participants are maybe distributed in various locations. So use scheduling tools that display meeting times in the local time zones is comfortable. Wherever possible, try to find a suitable time that works for the majority of the participants. Consider rotating meeting times to accommodate different time zones fairly. Yeah. Maybe this time we'll do it 8 hours. This other time we'll do it rotating meetings so that doesn't look like some people are more favored than others. So what about miscommunication and non-verbal cues? Yeah, miscommunication is also a risk. Miscommunication. Yeah, miscommunication is a risk in itself. So how do we manage that? Virtual meetings may lead to misinterpretation of messages due to the absence of nonverbal cues. You see, nonverbal also plays part. Like the way I'm talking and sometimes I'm using my hands to explain myself. Nonverbal is very key. It's a way of communication. That's language. Allow members to talk in simple terms. Yeah. Use video whenever possible to help participants pick up on facial expressions and body language. Allow nonverbal. Maybe when someone is airing out a question, let them be on video so that you can see their nonverbal communication, the body language, yeah, which equally communicates. So that helps also. Ask participants to repeat or summarize key points to ensure understanding. Anything that is not audible, yeah, ask that person, be able to see them expressing themselves non-verbally, yeah. What about, those are some of the risks and their mitigations. And I think those are enough, but can be more. Technical issues, call for the meeting earlier, do a test technology. Security and privacy, consider issues of encryption and also passwords. Lack of an engagement, yeah, allow members to participate. Don't make the meeting so long. Make it simple and relevant to avoid boredom. Yeah, distractions, ask the members, request them to put off their gadgets and put their minds together and concentrate. Yeah, time zones, yeah, consider others, maybe from other time zones, and try and strike a time that is comfortable to many. Yeah, miscommunication, allow some members also to express themselves non-verbally, yeah, by putting on their videos. That can also help. Maybe I can also look at overwhelming number of things affecting productivity and causing burnout. Maybe calling one meeting after the other, it's not very healthy. So evaluate the necessity of each meeting. Is it necessary to have a virtual meeting? And consider alternative communication. Can we do an email to all rather than holding a virtual meeting? Yeah, can we do a phone call to the members rather than calling for a virtual meeting? Can we do an instant message? Yeah, set time limits for meeting and stick to the agenda. Yeah, there's this sometimes tendency where people get out of the agenda and discuss other things. And that's why we are saying for a virtual meeting, let it be relevant and simple so that members will not be disengaged. Encourage team members to provide feedback on meeting. And that's why it's very important when members provide feedback to know what can we improve in the next meeting. Yeah. So let's look at the last one, virtual meetings etiquette. Yeah, it's very also necessary to consider what are some of the etiquettes that are very necessary for a virtual meeting. Yeah, virtual meetings require, now we are on point number 5, virtual meeting etiquette. Yeah, virtual meetings require a certain level of etiquette to ensure smooth communication, respect for participants' time, and productive environment, so that you just don't call people for a meeting and it is, by the end of the day, it's not a productive meeting. People will feel wasted over their time and maybe other activities that they would have done in that time. So essential virtual meeting etiquette guidelines. 1, be punctual. You've called for a meeting. Yeah. Part of number 1 etiquette is be punctual. The presenter of the meeting, yeah, or the people who called for the meeting, keep time. Yeah. You must be punctual. Join the virtual meeting on time. Avoid making other participants wait for you to start. It's not ethically correct when you call for a meeting and members logging into a meeting and they keep waiting for you until you come. It is very important for the presenter or the facilitator to log in on time and to be very punctual. Point number 2 is what we discussed about test technology. Yeah, test technology. Check your internet, yeah, connection, audio, video before the meeting. Familiarize yourself with the platform to avoid technical delays. Yeah. So that one you have discussed over and again here, issues of testing the technology before the actual meeting. Yeah, that is also part of the etiquettes of a good meeting. Yeah. Choose a suitable environment. Find a quiet and well-lit space for the meeting. Minimize background noise and distractions. You are presenting in a meeting, in a virtual meeting. And then the background noise, you can hear maybe dogs barking or noise, or maybe it's next to a pub. By the time a virtual meeting is being called, consider the environment. Yeah, a quiet, suitable environment is very, very, very important. And then definitely a well-lit room like this one of mine, yeah, for meetings, so that you don't also call people and people cannot be able to see the presenter. They can maybe only hear the voice. Yeah. So the other issue is on test technology. And then you have also discussed about suitable environment. Yeah. And that one you have agreed that the background should not be very noisy. That will be a distractor of the meeting. So find a quiet and well-lit space for the meeting. That one you have agreed on point number 3. Then we look at point number 4, etiquette. Another one is dress professionally. Dressing professionally. Yeah. Some people take it casually because it's an online meeting, a virtual meeting. So they decide just to walk in for the meeting with their pajamas. That is not right. That is not professional. Every time a meeting is called and it's a virtual meeting, dress as if you're attending the meeting physically. Yeah. Present yourself well. You may not be asked to put on the video so that people can see you, but it is important to dress professionally. Suppose then you are asked to put on your video and you're in your pajamas. So it's healthy to dress professionally, dress appropriately for the meeting as you would in an in-person setup. Yeah, it's very, very, very important. Yeah. Yeah, that's an etiquette. Yeah, you don't just wear anything because people are not seeing you. Yeah, it's very important to dress professionally and to dress well. Mute your microphone. Yeah, mute your microphone. That's also an etiquette. Mute your microphone. Mute of microphone. Yeah. What does that mean? Unless you're speaking. There are those people who have a tendency, even in class setup like the ones that we have, they're always putting on their mics. They leave their microphones on. And then you're able to hear discussions in the house. Maybe the child is crying, asking for porridge, all those things. And that brings distraction to the whole class. And the teacher has a hard time convincing that student and mute yourself, yeah? So we're saying it is important to mute your microphone unless you're speaking. Keep your microphone muted to avoid background noise disruptions. It's a very, very, very important etiquette. Anytime you're attending a virtual meeting, try and remain muted. Yeah, keep yourself muted. But the moment you are asked to speak, that is the time to unmute yourself. Yeah. Let's look at another point. Point number 6, use video when possible. Use video. Yeah, when do you use video? When possible. We are saying when possible. When possible, yeah? Like in LCM, I normally see when we have meetings, you're asked not to put on your video. Why? Because it affects the facilitator, yeah? The bandwidth, yeah? We are required, like, in case you need to talk, to just unmute yourself and say whatever you needed to say, or just put it in a chat. So use video when possible. Enable your video to create a more personal and engaging environment. However, if you're experiencing bandwidth issues, yeah, or in an environment with poor lighting, you may politely communicate your decision to keep off the video. Some people put on videos and the lighting system is not okay, so you can't even see that person. So those are some of the things to consider, and also depending with the meeting that someone is attending. The other thing is that number 7 is it is important to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Remember, this is a meeting that is attended by so many people. So it is very important for someone to introduce themselves. If the meeting involves participants who might not know each other, introduce yourself briefly at the beginning. Don't just jump into the question and say, ask the question. It's important to say, my name is so-and-so, and I'm here because of this, and my question is this, yeah? Etiquette, yeah? You don't just get into a meeting, and when you unmute, I want to ask this and this and that. No, it is important, yeah? Just say your name, introduce yourself, and maybe the reason why you're attending the meeting, and then ask the question. That is part of the etiquette for a virtual meeting. The other thing is, another point is stay engaged. Number 8 is stay engaged. Yeah. Don't break out during the meeting. Kindly try and remain engaged. Yeah. Actively participate and show interests in the discussion. Avoid multitasking or browsing unrelated content during the meeting. Actively participate. Engage your mind with the meeting. Yeah. Don't black out. Don't show disinterest. Yeah. With the discussion. Avoid multitasking. Avoid chatting friends. Actually, a request is faster. Close, put off the other gadgets so that you can engage in the meeting. That is also part of the etiquette for a virtual meeting. Then the last one, but not the least, number 9, is raise up your hand. Yeah, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah, if there is a feature to raise your hand in the virtual platform, use it to indicate you have something to say or ask. You don't just interrupt the presenter. Some people have a bad behavior where a presenter or a facilitator is speaking, and all of a sudden you hear in the background someone talking. No, that is not a good etiquette. The best thing to do is for you to raise your hand, or if that is not doable, you can also type question and place for questions and ask, can I talk? Can I ask a question? Or just write the question there. The facilitator or the presenter is able to see that as he is able to address the question. So that brings us to, it's an interesting topic about virtual meeting, though I know all of us are involved in virtual meetings here and there. Yeah, this is a technology that is even embraced by young children in school, especially 2020 taught us so much as where the young children were taught in their homes by their teachers using virtual means. So this is not a new thing to many of us, but maybe part of the etiquette it's important to consider. Yeah. And now looking at it at a higher level of maybe shareholders meeting and the board of directors, because meeting compliance and administration, we're dealing more with the shareholders and their board of directors. So it's good to look at all this as we call for virtual meetings. So this brings us to the end of this topic, and actually to the end of meetings, compliance and administration. Topic number 15 was the last one. But in the next lesson, I'll go through all the topics, just trying to brush through all the topics that we have covered. And then you're now going to look at the questions. Yeah, we are going to do questions and answers, questions that have been sent by KASNEB. We're going to do some of the questions and then we answer so that we get ready for the exams. As it has been great to have you in class. I am going to bring it to an end now. And I must say you're good students and God bless you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.